Yeah, hi, it's Jackie here from the LGFA. We're on another Zoom call today, and it's a special week for the LGFA because we're looking ahead to the commencement of our TG4 Championships. And in a twist of fate, in the year that is 2020, it is the 20th year that TG4 and LGFA have partnered up for live coverage of the All-Ireland Championships, and it will be the 20th year that TG4 have screened the All-Ireland finals as well. So in light of that, I'm very happy to be joined by three former TG4 All-Ireland winning captains. I have Angela Casey from Laois, bottom left-hand side of my screen, who was captain in 2001 when Laois made the breakthrough at senior level. Debbie Lee Gaffney was captain of Donegal when they made a junior breakthrough, and also Clara Donnelly from Wexford was captain of Wexford when they made a junior breakthrough as well. So I'll have two junior All-Ireland winning captains and a senior All-Ireland winning captain with me today. Ladies, good to have you on board. How are we all doing?
I'll go, yeah.
Good, excellent. Angela, I'll come to you first. Bearing in mind the year that was in it, 2001, a phenomenal game. We had Mary Kerwin on recently to reminisce about it as well, and the frantic finish and all of that went with it. What are your memories of that 2001 final against Mayo, Angela, and the dramatic finale that it was? I guess if TG Cahill were looking to script their first ever game, they probably would have went down that road.
Yeah, like it was a brilliant game, Jackie. There was everything in it from, I think the ending was one of the best, not being biased now. But it was just the way it ended, I suppose. It was a great way to win, but a terrible way to lose too. I suppose the memories for me, I was quite young at the time. Not saying what age I am. And everyone know what age I am now.
I'm not going to ask you either, so you're all right.
I suppose I was quite young at the time, and probably looking back now, I kind of took it in my stride, and just it was like I hadn't lost all the All Irelands that some of those other girls like Sue and
Yes.
my sister Mary and lots of the other Mary Keogh and all those girls had lost. So I'd no real kind of inhibitions going into the game, or I knew the history, but it didn't affect me because I had never really, what would I say, experienced it. And I'd only I was very lucky when I started playing, say, senior with my club. Were quite successful. Like in 2000, we got to the All Ireland senior final.
Yes.
They see, I happened to be captain as well, and it was just happened because I don't know, the older girls had been captain, so they just went down along the list, and I was lucky enough to be captain no one then. But like I suppose the day of the All Ireland was it was a great day. Like I remember going into the dressing rooms and just we thought it was great, like see that you had your own spot in the dressing room, and everything was quite professional on the day. And coming up to the game, like Goggy, our manager, he's quite a character. If anybody knew him, anyone knows him, but he had us well prepared. And probably the thing that sticks out in my mind was half time, the chat at half time. We were down as I think it was a few pints maybe, but we had been winning. But Goggy gave quite a speech, and Michael Ryan from Waterford was helping us out too. So he was quite influential in the dressing room at half time. But I suppose the two things I remember was Mary Kerwin's penalty. Personally, I didn't look at the penalty. I was centre back at the time in the field, and I just buried my head in the grass, and I just heard the crowd roaring, and I knew it was in. It was amazing. It was just unbelievable. And then the last pint, looking at the clock, and it was brilliant, and just all the blue and white on the day that Hogan's stand was being redone. So the entire L shape, the Cusick and the canal end was packed. Like I think it was 33,000. It was a record crowd at the time. So it was actually a great atmosphere on today. But I remember just seeing all the blue and white flags, and that goosebump feeling and all that kind of thing. It's amazing, brilliant.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Brilliant memories, Angela. I'm going to come back to you and just ask you what it meant to, you mentioned Sue, who had obviously suffered some heartbreak in previous seasons. And I have someone like Max Brennan as well, who was part of the setup for so long and was part, I think, of the backroom setup then when they eventually made the breakthrough. So I'll come back to you in a couple of moments on that. Clara Donnelly from Wexford, good to have you on. Hope all is well in your world, Clara, in these strange times we are living in. So you played in 2013 when Offaly beat you in the junior final, but you come back to captain the team in 2014 against New York. in the All-Ireland junior final. Clara, your memories of maybe first of all, and Debbie Lee, this question to you in a couple of moments as well, the contrast between losing a final and winning one, and where you found the motivation to recover from losing one to come back the next year and go again, Clara.
Yeah, as you said, we suffered defeat there in 2013. Not only that, we'd also suffered defeat in 2007. And after 2013, we kind of promised ourselves that we weren't going to let that feeling, we're not going to have that feeling again. There was a number of girls involved in the panel from 2007 and then again in 2013. And we just weren't going to let that loss happen again. Obviously, it was a very, very close finish on the day. Very relieved at the end of it. I feel like we were kind of knocking on the door for a couple of years. So it was it was that step that we needed to make. We needed to get that final. We needed to get that win. We needed to just get over the line and just thank God we were able to do it in 2014.
Debbie, you have a similar story with Donegal in that you lost the final and came back to win one. I guess Clara refers to maybe a little bit of hunger that would drive a team after losing the final. So when you're faced down in the mud in the winter months, are you thinking about what happened in the previous championship, and does that give you the little extra edge to go again? Because as well, you were captain in 2002 against Galway in the final and stayed captain for the next year and got your hands on the trophy. So what kind of a group did you return to when you were ready for the next season? Did you sense that there was a little bit of lingering disappointment, but did you also sense that there was a burning determination to make sure, as Clara says, that what happened previously wasn't going to happen again?
Yeah, just same as Clara said, we were devastated in 2002. A lot had happened in the run up to it. We'd lost Anne Toner the week before in a car accident. She's a massive part of our backline. So to lose that, I myself was dealing with knee injury, different things. To come back, felt we didn't do ourselves justice against Galway. Galway were a savage outfit on the day and the better team won, but we didn't perform the way that we had wanted to. So when we came back the following January, February time, yeah, the girls were up for it. They put in the hard work and there was that hunger. It was more, we wanted to do ourselves justice. We wanted to show people that we weren't just this one-hit wonder, that we could do it. We were a good team. And yeah, that was the main drive behind it. We knew that there was more to give.
What happens to the rest of the group? Are they bonded even closer? Or how were you affected personally, and how were the other players affected by what happened?
It was strange. We were all on a team bonding weekend. We went to Bundoran, we went surfing, just team bonding. Toner, we hadn't been able to get in contact with her, but nobody thought, that anything bad had happened. We tried ringing her. We just thought, I don't know, she kind of something got caught up at home or at work or whatever. And when the news came through, that she'd been in an accident the night before, Jesus, we thought, okay, she's going to have a few bumps and cuts and grazes or whatever, but we didn't realise the extent. And when we left to go to Dublin for the All-Ireland, we'd all been to the hospital to visit her, and it had a massive impact. And I don't think we realised just how bad it kind of hit us. And we tried to regroup, but to go the whole year, and she's such a big part of the team, and to lose that link, it does affect you, even though you try not to let it. But to leave her behind and let her in the general before we even hit the road, I suppose it did have an effect, and she had a massive impact the following year whenever we came back, even just to be on the pitch after breaking her pelvis, and to play the game that she played, it just shows the character of the girl, and the massive impact that she had for us.
Yeah, it's an amazing story, and it certainly glued you together, I'd say, a lot more then, did it, Debbie, the entire squad?
I did, yeah. It made us very tight. It made us appreciate, that it can all be taken away from you. And we were lucky enough to get a second chance at it. Not too many people get to play in Croke Park ever, and we got a second bite at it, so we weren't going to let it slip out of our fingers the second time round.
Is that the greatest day, one of the greatest day of your life, when you eventually did get over the line in that championship, Debbie?
Yeah, listen, whether you're a wee boy or a wee girl, the stage, I think everybody dreams about playing in Croke Park and lifting the cup, and you don't really get to think that you're ever going to do it. When you turn the corner to head down from Bibsborough and you see Croke Park and the hair stands in the back of your neck, it's what dreams are made of. and to walk around the pitch and lead them out and see mommy and daddy and everybody there, yeah, it's pretty cool.
That's right up there, I'd imagine. Brilliant stuff. Angela, can you remember what maybe the razzmatazz was like before the final in 01, bearing in mind with the TG4 on board and that kind of stuff as well? Was there an added kind of buzz around finals time?
Yeah, there was, like, and I even remember myself on the Saturday going into Portlaoise and loads of people were saying hello to me. I was like, how did they know me? But like, there was such a buzz and it was all in the papers and it was, everyone was talking about it. And Laois had lost quite a lot. I think it was 8-time lucky. I think that was the heading on the paper the next day, So there was quite a lot of hype around Laois, and the men's football hadn't done fantastic at that time. It was 0-3 when they won the Leinster. So there was a huge crowd went to the game from Laois, and it was brilliant. Like, there was a fantastic atmosphere with the blue and white all around the county, and it was just brilliant. It was something, I always dreamed of. And, we got there in 96, we drew with Monaghan. Now I was a sub, sitting in the back of the dugout, I might add, not a hope of coming on, but I was there anyway. But my sister would have been a huge influence on me, Mary. So she would have been playing at the time. And in 96, the loss had come, and, this was 5 years later, and suddenly we're back in Croke Park. And, there was no back door at the time, so it was, you lost, you were gone. So, it really was no second chances at that time. But it was a huge atmosphere in the county, and after it, well, it shows we didn't win the year after. I think we celebrated too much. But we didn't get the second chance. We got to the Leinster final in 02, but no back door then. So, look, we enjoyed 01 anyway. We had a great time.
Absolutely, and it was the question I mentioned to you previously, the likes of Sue and the players that have been around for some of the previous ones, Angela, yourself as well, as you mentioned. What did it mean to somebody like Sue and Mags Brennan, who was now part of the back room and had gone through such heartache? What kind of sense of joy do you think that actually winning a Senior All-Ireland brought to them?
Yeah, like, there was huge emotions after the game, Jackie. I remember myself and Sue were actually last to leave Croke Park. I don't think Sue wanted to leave. We just stayed in the dressing room for so long, there was the likes. There was Mary Cahill, Linda Brennan. There was so many players. My own sister Mary, who unfortunately didn't get to play in the All-Ireland. She had her cruciate in the semi-finals, so it was quite difficult at home. I was there a lot younger than her, and I was the captain, and she didn't get to play. So I often felt I always felt bad for her, who else was? There was Grania Dunn. There was loads of players that played. Sue was probably, everybody knows Sue, and what she gave to the game, and all. Lulu, who passed away unfortunately, and
yes,
another player, part of the backroom team was Mary Ramsbottom, and it was kind of, I suppose, ironic that Mary was involved for years with Timahoe underage and senior and Laois underage, and she lived and died for football. She'd actually collect you anywhere, as long as you made training. She used to have a car full of children running around, in the local community. But she suffered, she died of cancer that December after we won the All-Ireland. So, I cherish that moment with her too. She was a big influence on most of us as players, growing up. So it was great to have her there as well. And it meant a lot that, she'd lost all those as well, over the years, because she was involved in the backroom team. But yeah, it was just unbelievable. I remember Doggy hugging Sue after the game, and the tears. You don't often see that kind of a picture. It was just something I'll never forget. I remember Sue saying she was the happiest woman in the world, and Goggy's he summed up the game and he said, literally, blood, sweat and tears. And that sticks in my head, blood, sweat and tears. And it was the truth, there was bangs and there was hits and there was crying, every sort of emotion. For me, too, I was delighted, but I felt so, it's a horrible way to lose, but great way to win.
Yeah, absolutely. It was a memorable game, absolutely phenomenal game of football, I have to say. Clara, what did it mean then to Wexford and yourself and that group to win an All-Ireland title? We've heard some of the memories there from Debbie and Angela. What did it mean to your bunch?
Yeah, Jackie, I think it obviously meant a lot, but as I said, it kind of, we've been knocking on the door for a couple of years at that stage. We'd suffered the defeat the year before. You know, the hunger was there. There was people who'd been in the panel for a number of years who had, as Debbie said, never stepped in Croke Park. You know, we were fortunate to get there twice. We weren't going to let that opportunity, but just yet for Wexford football, you know, we'd never got a ladies' title behind us. So to finally get over the line, you know, it meant a lot for us at the time, and obviously for years to come. Met lots of those players, but even years before, players that had gone on, you know, you had unbelievable players that were never fortunate enough to get there with the football. So the win was for us, and then for all those players as well. So yeah, it meant a lot, a huge amount to Wexford ladies.
Yeah, because Wexford ladies football is absolutely steeped in tradition and history, Clara.
Yeah, do you know, yeah, like that we've been, you know, it's kind of, we needed that one. We've been there a couple of years before, and as we said, at the year directly before, and we just couldn't manage to get over the line. So to finally get over the line, you know, at the final whistle, we didn't really know whether to laugh or cry. It was kind of something that we'd wanted for so long, and because the game was so close, in the end, you know, we didn't want to slip up to the final whistle, and in the end, we got by 2 points, and it really meant everything to us.
Absolutely. Debbie, how big a step was to get out of the junior grade for Donegal? They would eventually get out of the intermediate grade as well, but was there a sense among the group that this was a big step forward for Donegal football at the time?
Yeah, like we've been knocking on the door for a few years at Ulster. We'd lost a few finals. The particular bunch of girls that was there, we were, I suppose, we knew that our time was coming to an end as well. But to win in the way that we did, it was a massive, massive boost for the girls and for football in the county. Like as Angela said, afterwards there was people coming up to us like in Tesco and stuff and saying hi to us and congratulating us and calling us by name, and you're kind of like, wow, this is mad, like this is brilliant. But like the girls football took on from then, and sure, the senior team, and they went on, won the intermediate after that. And there was a good backbone of the team that we played with, like Aoife Mack, Yvonne Boner, girls like that played in 03 with us, and Aoife was the captain the year they won the intermediate. So it set a catalyst for them, and they went on from there.
And they've got a pretty tidy bunch at the moment. I think, you know, Yvonne is still there, obviously, Geraldine McLaughlin, Karen Guthrie. Do you still follow the fortunes of the current team, Debbie? And I think they might be little dark horses for the championship this year. I think with you know, they have everybody at home, which in previous years might not be the case.
It's a huge plus for them. Maybe COVID is going to do us a favour with the likes of having Yvonne and the girls at home. They're massive players. I follow them all the time. Like I'm living in Cavan now, but you're always Donegal woman. You're going to follow them wherever. And they are, like Geraldine McLaughlin, she has to be one of the best footballers in the country, male or female. Like the way she can kick a ball, she can be unstoppable. Like she's really, really good. And they've loads of young girls coming through as well. They're going to be about hopefully for the next couple of years, and who knows, this year could be our year.
You'd never know. It could be a wide open championship. Angela, would you still follow the fortunes of Laois? Maybe leaner times in more recent times, but obviously there's a lot of good work going on at grassroots level there, and hopefully that will bear fruit in the years to come.
Yeah, look, Laois are big time in transition, Jackie, at the moment, you know. To be honest, I don't follow it as much as I did. I'm very much involved at club level more so at the moment. So I follow it as much as I can. Like I just don't get to the games time and that kind of thing. And this year is kind of different as well. But Laois are quite young and kind of lost a batch of players, say maybe since 2014, 2015, lost quite a number of players, you know, together, like say 5 or 6 senior players going at a time rather than one. And the underage wasn't as successful, so they're kind of building again and trying to get the best players to come in and play. It's quite difficult to entice players to play when teams aren't winning as much. You know, after we won, everybody wanted to join the panel and whatever, and success, you know, breeds success, as they say. But they're just, it's going to take them a few years to get there, you know. Hopefully we will get there, because we would have great history over the years, and I don't like to see it go when there was so much effort put in. And just even myself, I see the benefits of sport for kids, like working in a school there. And I mean, we do a lot of sports with them at lunchtime and even during the current times, just to keep it going. It's so good for mental health. Like Absolutely. It's just, and you know, there's so many sports kids can do, but I don't think anything beats the GAA for community and spirit and all friendship and what comes with it. Like, I'd still say my best friends are my football girls, like, you know. Hope I didn't insult any of my other friends now. But, it's just something with the GAA, like, it just brings that cohesiveness and community spirit, like, you know, and I think you just can't beat it. It's just fantastic.
Yeah, it's quite unique, Clara. And what about Wexford's prospects for the couple of months that lie in store? What are your insights into it?
Yeah, we're kind of in a transitional period at the moment. We were in Division 2 league this year. We wouldn't have had the league campaign that we would have hoped for. We suffered a lot of heavy defeats. Like the rest of the girls are saying, we did have a lot of players step back. Since our Leinster final win a couple of years ago, we've lost a lot of our experienced players. So we're kind of trying to transition now with experience and youth. But we've got a lot of girls back. As Debbie was saying, COVID might be a bit of a benefit to us as well. A lot of girls that planned on travelling couldn't go travelling in the end. So we've been training hard, and hopefully the championship, you know, will be a better campaign than the league was for us.
Yeah, the league was disappointing for you, Clara. There's no point in dressing it up, and you really haven't there. But you see championship now as very much a clean slate and a fresh page and a chance to start again.
Yeah, and we like that. We would have for a very different team to the team that played in the league. Obviously, it was hard for the girls that were there. The defeats weren't were pretty. You know, there was a lot of heavy defeats in there from teams that we may have been competing with the years previous. So, like Angela said, you know, a lot of players don't want to play when you're losing. So it was trying to get the girls back together. And we've been training hard. You know, we've been playing practice matches, and they've been going well for us. So just hopefully we can improve in the championship. It is a transitional period for us, but just hopefully we can get better from now on.
Good stuff. And Debbie, when you look at the profile of ladies football and how it's changed through the years, how impressed have you been, or what are your particular thoughts on where we are now and perhaps, you know, where we can go? Obviously what's happening with COVID, and that is a big setback, particularly in the year 2020 and the 20x20 campaign that was in full flight as well. But any particular thoughts on where we are and what we can do better, maybe even?
We've come, well, to be honest, we've come leaps and bounds. Like, when you think back when we started, the coverage of ladies football was minimal. So it was, you were lucky if you got a spread in the paper at all, unless you were coming up to a final or something. The girls train a lot harder now. They've a lot more support at county level, especially. Like, they've nutritionists, they've doctors, they've physios, the training regimes, everything is tailored for the player. You know, when we were playing, you'd be lucky to get a banana and a bottle of orange after training. You'd be going home maybe 8 or 9 o'clock at night to shower, to get up to go to work again the next morning. You know, you had to prepare a lot on your own. There is still a lot of ground to make up, like, as regards, I suppose, coverage in the media and things like that. The 2020 campaign has been brilliant. You know, it's putting it out there. Never going to say that there's enough coverage of ladies sport. You know, you still ask the kids around, like, for a Gaelic footballer, 9 times out of 10 they're going to give you a male name. But we're getting there. Listen, baby steps, and it is improving, and it's great to see. And the work that you're doing along with the 2020 campaign with the LGFA and everything, it's brilliant. It's brilliant to see. So yeah, I think it's just, there's a lot done, but more to do, as they say.
As the old political phrase goes, yeah, absolutely. Angela, well said, Debbie. Angela, any particular thoughts on where we are and the profile of our games and how we've come along over the years?
Yeah, I think it's fantastic, like the coverage as well. I agree. Even myself, you know, when I started playing, I was quite young, 14. I played till I was in my 30s, and the difference then, even in 2001, like we got a fry in the punching still before we played the game, like a fry before we played the game. That would never happen. And by the time I
there's sports
retired,
science for you, Angela, yeah.
It's like, you know, we still won. So yeah, so I think it was 2010. I'm not sure when I retired, but I remember by then, like, we were all on core programs, you know, all healthy eating, very different, like, way of going on than than when I had started. Like, so I've seen a huge transition in my own career, and I'd say it's even gone even more professional than since 2010. You know, like, players are treated better. You know, the facilities are better, and the coverage is excellent. Like, you know, but I agree. Like, there's always more to be covered with ladies. Maybe like TG4 have been unbelievable. Like, and sometimes people say to me, I don't understand that Irish. They may put it on RT. You know, the older people might say, why isn't it on RT? Whatever. But look, TG4 have been brilliant to us, and it has shown a lot of. What would I say? I suppose people now realise that ladies football is quite entertaining and just as good as the men's. So I think that's a huge recognition from a lot of people because of the coverage that's been given over the years, you know.
Yeah,
But I'd be quite happy with the way we're going. Yeah.
good, Angela. Good stuff. And Clara, as a player, I mean, and what are your particular thoughts on where we are now and the road we've travelled and perhaps where we can go into the future?
Yeah, I think we've come a long, long way. Even the ladies' finals in Croke Park every year, you know, they speak for themselves. The numbers are getting much bigger every year. I definitely think we're much more respected. I think, as the girls have said, TG4 and yourselves have done a huge amount of work. I definitely think as a player, it's really encouraging to want to play now. I think, as I said, we're really much more respected. If we keep going the way we're going, you know, I think that there's no reason that we can't be, you know, maybe never on a par with the men, but, you know, I think we're getting there. We're getting up there.
Good. Debbie, if I can ask you one final question. If you think back to that All-Ireland final and the glorious day that it was, what is there one particular memory that stands out for you? Obviously the cup lift was a massive thing, but anything else that's maybe deeply personal to you, or that it's just a little bit different from the norm, perhaps?
No, I suppose the one thing I always remember Tootsie, he was our manager the year before, and he came back that morning, and I remember him saying, when you're in the parade, he says, don't be nervous, look round, find your family, find your friends, give them a wave. He says, it'll settle the nerves. And, you know, that I did exactly that, walking around in the parade behind the band. Yeah, I found my parents, found my boyfriend, and gave them a wee wave and had a wee smile. And I remember that. Yeah, it's one of those memories. Everything flies by so fast on the day. It's hard to remember everything, but I remember that. And I think it was still kind of looking at them when we broke off to run and do our warm up and ran into one of the guards in the band, nearly knocked him over. But yeah, but there are wee things that you remember, which was kind of cool.
Brilliant, love it. Angela, yourself, obviously lifting the cup was massive, and you've mentioned, you know, Mary's penalty, the winning free, that kind of stuff. But is there anything else that stands out or that you recall from the day?
I've little bits and pieces, but I won't go into them all because, you know, one of them was, it's funny, Debbie said, you know, that man said, look around, enjoy. Goggy said to us, look at the ground, don't look around. He was a funny guy. If you knew him, he was just brilliant, like, you know. And I remember we lined up then to meet the president, Mary McAleese, and I introduced everyone. I came to the end, and Lulu was there, you know, and she said to me, and Lulu would have been quite close to our family. She's Mary's best friend, you know, and she said to me, I see your mother and father in the stand there. And I was like, don't be looking in, you know. I was afraid Goggy would be saying something to us, like, but that was quite funny. And I suppose for me, a really big memory that sticks out to me, I often feel very emotional about it, was when we went back to the City West and I walked with the cup to City West, and all I could see was my dad, and he was crying. It was the first time I'd ever seen my dad crying. He was a really tall man, like, he's over 6 foot. And there was so many people there, but all I could see was my dad, you know, and that was quite an emotion for me. Like, I knew what it meant to him. He didn't have to say anything. You know, I knew he was just so proud, like, and that was a huge memory for me. Yeah, that's probably number one on my list.
Beautiful memory. Yeah, absolutely wonderful. I love that. Clara, yourself, same question to wrap us up.
Yeah, probably the biggest thing that stands in my mind is being in the dressing room with the girls after the match. Obviously, I was there the year before when we suffered the heartache, and just to show what it meant, the stalwarts like Mary Rose Kelly in the dressing room with us that day, who'd suffered not only 1 defeat but 2 defeats. I could go through all her saves as my memories of the match, but there's too many of them. But yeah, for me, just to see what it meant to the girls, to see what it meant to Wexford ladies football, and just being part that moment in the dressing room afterwards when we finally were able to say we've done it, and that's probably something that will stay with me forever.
Brilliant. Absolutely fantastic. Ladies, I've really enjoyed the chat, and thanks for coming on, because we're recording on an evening time, so go off away and have your dinners or whatever you're at for and enjoy the rest of your evening. It's been wonderful catching up. 3 former TG4 All-Ireland winning captains with me today: Clara Donnelly from Wexford, top left hand side of my screen; Angela Casey, Laois, bottom left hand side of my screen; and Debbie Lee Gaffney from Donegal. Ladies, I look forward to seeing you again in the not too distant future, and when all of this madness is done and dusted. But for now, stay safe and stay well, and thanks for coming on.
Thanks, Jackie.
Thank you.